Well, happy Thursday, everybody. Oh, not my Instagram live all loud. Thanks for joining us for Rooted in Progress. Terrence.
Yes.
This is episode 10, my friend.
You sure? Because it sounds like it's episode 1, leaving your mic, your phone open.
And my earpiece just came out. I'm all together.
Welcome, guys. Hey, that's one thing about being live is that when you're live, anything goes. And this is real.
Absolutely.
Welcome, Deanne. How are you?
I am well. Thanks for joining us. Rooted in Progress. We are back, our 10th episode. We are so happy that y'all are joining us, that y'all have been hanging with us, rocking with us for 10 weeks.
Yes.
Wow.
Has it been 10 weeks?
It's been 10 very long.
Man, that's doesn't feel like it. Doesn't feel like
it. It has been fun. I mean, everyone who shows up, I feel like they want to be better. Right. You know what I mean? Right. When we set out to do this, Rooted in Progress is literally that, about progress. And so whether you are with us live every Thursday on Facebook or WFLAnow.com, if you have us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and you sit at home, I get pictures from people, Terrence, where they're like chilling at home. It might be Saturday, you know, the Saturday after we aired our podcast. And so I love this platform, and I love what we're talking about because these conversations are important, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And the one way to stay rooted is to like and subscribe to all of those platforms that Deanne just mentioned. We need your help. We need your support, and we want to be here for you, but we also need you to be here for us. So like, subscribe, download, watch, share, all of those, plus some, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Good for you. Come on, Terrence.
There you go.
No, what you talking about?
This is week 10. This is week 10.
Hey, y'all, we got a good one for you today.
Yes.
We are talking about St. Pete. You know, last week we had St. Pete Mayor Ken Welch on his birthday. That was an incredible episode. If you haven't listened to that, make sure you check that out. Yep. But we have someone here who is amazing. He does such incredible work for our community. And whenever we call, he comes he answers in his full glory. We're talking about St. Pete. We're going to be addressing the crime, reducing crime, particularly answering your questions. So if you all have any questions at any point, please let us know. You could drop them in the comment section so that way we can answer it. But mainly, that the man, St. Pete's top cop, Chief Anthony Holloway, could answer him. Shout out to Chief Holloway. Thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me. Now I feel really honored. You know, this is your 10th episode. And I'm celebrating my 10th anniversary in St. Pete. So we got it going on here.
There we go.
Boom, boom. That's what I'm talking about. That's how you do it. Man, Chief Holloway.
There we
Come
go.
on.
The sound effects.
Chief Holloway, I feel like I really just want to peel back the layers and let folks get to know you. We want to get to know you. We've been chatting and we've gotten to know you over the past 3 years. But tell folks about you, where you were born, where you grew up. You told me you used to spend your summers in Monticello. Shout out to the 850 if you're listening. So tell us about you.
So I was born here, raised in Tampa. I grew up in Sulphur Springs. Went to high school here, started college here. And then I got hired on to Clearwater. That was my first stop in the 80s. It was going to be one of those part-time jobs. You know, at the time they were paying for college, so I said I'll just stop there and and figure out what I'm going to do in life. So 39 years later, I'm still trying to figure it out.
Wow, 39 years. What was it that attracted you to law enforcement?
Well, like I said, to be honest, when I first went into it, they were paying for college. So I said, here's the thing that they can help pay for college and let me decide on what career that I want to go to. And then more and more I got involved into it. And the officer that helped me here when I was growing up, our school resource officer, Mr. Northrop, the way he treated us back then, I said, I want to do the same thing. I want to give back the way he gave back. It wasn't like he wasn't worried about, and that's what I told him also, he wasn't worried about how many people he arrested. He worried about how many lives he could change. So I figured if I started doing that and other people started doing that, maybe we can change a lot. We're not going to change everybody, but maybe we can help some people back out.
That's incredible. Awesome. And you've been doing that for 39 years.
Now don't keep saying that number like that.
That make it sound old?
Yeah, that makes you sound.
You're not old. What when people, I feel like when you're talking about law enforcement, you're talking about, some people are afraid, but like, you're just a normal person. You have a personality. What do you do on the weekends? What do you like to do for fun when you're not in uniform?
So the season's starting just right. Next weekend is college
football.
College football.
Oh, okay. Not professional.
Well, I like professional, but from Saturday morning from noon until midnight, don't bother me.
Oh.
I mean, if it's an emergency, I'll come out.
But you watching college football. So what's your favorite team then?
I don't have a favorite team. Just as long as it's college football, I'm
No
watching.
way.
Any
team?
Any team. But people will tell you, though, it's all about the U.
Come on, Miami.
Miami.
I used to love Miami.
Now we talking we talking about the original U?
The original U.
From back in the day.
Back in the day.
Oh, okay. The ones that'll bust your head wide open.
Heavy hitters.
Now they got to get their attitude back right.
Yeah, you're right about that. Okay, so you're a college football guy.
Yep. So, Chief, we're talking about, we're just trying to get to know you right now. So every time I see you, and again, I'm not from Tampa or St. Pete, Florida area, but every time I see you, you're always in your uniform. So please tell me that you're not sitting there watching college football in your badge and your tie, right?
No.
Right? I just hope not. So my question.
You want to be honest with you?
Yes, sir. It's a part of his uniform every day. So yeah, when you're out of your uniform and do you throw on your Hawaiian shirt, kick off with your flip flops, and do you hang out at the beach? What else do you like to do, Chef?
You're right. I like to dress down and get out of uniform, and then I always laugh. My wife and I always laugh because they'll say like, "I know you from somewhere," and I go like, "You know what? Everybody says that all the time. I don't know who that guy you're talking about, but it's not me." And then sometimes you really want to stay undercover. They go like, "You look like that guy from St. Pete." I go, I said, "I don't know who that guy is."
Yeah.
I said, "It must be my cousin or somebody, because it's not me." But the people that do know me, then yes,
that's funny.
But it's just like you want to be off, you want to be off. So that's what I do.
Right. So then where do you go? Like, where do you hang out?
I come back to Tampa.
Oh, you go across that bridge.
Yes.
Yeah.
But then coming back here, everybody still knows me here. So I usually go out of state when I really want to be like under. But I enjoy this community. I enjoy this Tampa Bay area because it's given a lot to me, and I want to get back to it.
Yeah. I brought out some of our old black card revoke. Good old black card revoke. Okay, but they're normal questions, Chief. Yeah. They're normal questions. I want to know about your music. So it's a question that says, which legendary label had the most impact on the rap game? Def Jam, No Limit, Death Row, or Bad Boy?
Boy.
That's a good one, ain't it? Yeah.
You might need to say, or all of the above.
We got Def Jam, No Limit, Death Row, or Bad Boy.
I'll say all the above, but for me, it's really Motown because I'm from the old era. I still like my Motown. I'll listen to some of that now and then, but I gotta go back to jazz and Motown.
Okay, how you feel about the current rap game? You don't listen to that?
Some of it's good and some of it's like,
Who?
what?
I want to know.
No, I ain't gonna give that up. Now you're gonna get me in trouble.
No, who? Tell me.
There's really nobody. If I listen to it, I'll go like, yeah, that sound all right, but no, I ain't got time for that.
Okay, I feel you. The current rap game is a struggle.
It's a struggle, and it's been a struggle. It's been a struggle.
Well, and we're going to talk about that. If you start listening to it, it's talking about who's killing who, who's doing what. I would like for somebody to come with a rap game and talk about education and bettering yourself. Yeah. But
J. Cole.
But I know that's not going to sell.
J. Cole does.
Oh, okay.
That's why he's my favorite rapper. J. Cole doesn't really talk about a lot of that foolishness, especially like with guns and like drugs, and he doesn't talk about a lot of that stuff. Now, he has some songs, some raps that refer back to like being around that in his environment growing up, but like he does a lot of raps just about like real life, about education, about loving your wife, about loving your kids. Like, check out J. Cole.
Okay. Now I have to listen to somebody. We did this thing a while back at the police department, and they got that Will Smith "Summertime." And and you think about it, when you listen to it, it is about the summertime when you were growing up. How things, people driving around on a Saturday and Sunday in their car. So all that stuff, that's a true thing. But I don't know.
It's hard to do that today. And I guess this would be a great way to segue into our topic today. Back referencing that music video with Will Smith back in the day called Summertime. You remember the lyrics. It was going to get fresh, get an outfit from the mall and cleaning up your car and hanging out at the park. You can't do that today.
Yeah,
you can,
or it's hard to do it.
It's hard to do it today. Absolutely. Why is that, Chief?
And you're right, because when you listen to the lyrics, I was one of those kids.
Yeah.
You spent the whole day getting that car and you going for the ladies and everybody having a good time.
Right.
Yeah.
Now is who's going to shoot who at the end of the night.
Yeah.
It's not who's talking to who's getting to know who. And I think maybe we've lost that where we can talk to each other. Or even, like I said, I'm not going to say we were all saints. If you got involved in a fight, you didn't go pull out a gun. Or not. If you had a fist fight.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, that's going to happen. That's life. But you're not trying to kill somebody.
Or how about we just put our beef on pause right now, because it looks like majority of the folks here are having a great time. Let's not ruin it.
Yeah. They don't think that far.
No.
No
thinking in it. So
you stepped on my shoes, or you leaned on my car. Really?
Right. You're looking at me too hard, or sad.
And I heard somebody say that, there's a lot of soft people that are either in jail or dead. Because everybody said you're too soft. You call somebody soft now, either they're going to shoot you,
right,
or you're going to do something to them. What's wrong with, so you're soft. Okay.
So what? I'll be soft.
I'm moving on.
As long as I can live and see tomorrow.
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
Let's talk about the climate right now with St. Pete and where crime is. So where are we in the St. Pete area?
So in the St. Pete area, I can say right now we're steady, but I think that's because of several things. One is our community leaders that are being involved in it. Can we have more community leaders involved in it? Yes, we can. Two is the work that the men and women are doing for law enforcement. But the biggest thing, we talked about that earlier, is when are we going to get the parents' involvement?
There we go.
Because that's what it is. And like I said, I told you, I like to sit back and listen to people. We all see our kids as male or female. Our kid's going to be this great superstar, where they're going to be an athlete or artist. Like this time you say football, every parent got all their kids at the football field because everybody think they're going to be the next superstar. But when we have programs for after school, learning how to read and how to write, nobody's there.
Yep.
So it's kind of like, how do we get back to that? And somebody was talking about somebody the other day about one of the rappers, I can't think of his name, that went to jail and couldn't read or write. And they took all his R. Kelly. Okay,
Him.
there you go. Making all that money.
Right.
And no education. So how do we go about doing that? How do we change it? So you're saying crime, we have our moments. And what I tell people is, it's great. And you do it. We all get out there. We hold signs. We all talk about how that kid died and what we're going to do. And nothing bad about the news. So it lasts for 72 hours and we forget about it. What are we going to do? We don't react again until that next child is killed. Why don't we carry this out all the way through so that message is there?
Right.
Wow. What, on your side, what do you think can be done about that from the parent aspect and from the community aspect, heck, and even from the news aspect, going beyond those 72 hours?
I think you have to, just like anything, keep it out there in the front. Keep talking about that child has been killed, or when another child gets killed, add it on, put up a bulletin board. And when people start to see, look at all these children, then they'll see something. Like I said, I love getting out, talking. Some guy just told me that the other day. He says, you know what? People always talk about the snitching episode.
Man.
And he says, don't snitch. But as soon as someone in your family gets killed, you want everybody to snitch. So I said,
oh, that's real.
I said, man, you know what? He's
That's
right.
real.
He says, so why don't we all, if you're doing bad, then hey, then that's on you. Then you shouldn't. And I agree with. He says, then you should be snitching on somebody. You selling dope, you got caught. Hey, that's on you.
That's on you.
But if someone's out there doing something bad, then why don't you pick up that phone? If you really want it out of your neighborhood, then we should work together. And I'll just like St. Pete. I love St. Pete, but it's not everybody's bad in St. Pete. We deal with, I call it my 1%ers, and then I can narrow it down and tell you what 40 kids that I see coming through the system all the time. When are we going to break that?
Yeah, speaking of kids, so we had, and speaking of the news, the 14-year-old who shot and killed an 11-year-old, and it stemmed from an argument. Now, we can go through the details. I honestly want to know, you as a chief, when you hear that happened and you hear that your officers are responding to that type of incident, what's your reaction in that moment?
I'm going to get, like you said, get real.
Please get real.
Right. I am so sick and tired of every time I hear a shooting, a stabbing. The next thing I know is going to be, the victim's going to be an African-American and the suspect's going to be an African-American. When are we going to learn? Because it's just sad. Because that's not part of our culture.
Yeah.
And I don't know how it became a part of our culture. So yeah, it does bother me because I'll look at our log and I'll see African-American 14, African-American 15 shot, African-American 15, 16 arrested for aggravated battery or with a gun. When are we going to do? And like I said, there are a lot of good people like you. I'm not just here.
Yeah.
Y'all are doing it. Y'all are talking about it.
Right.
But when are we going to turn this talk into action?
Right.
Because we're holding up signs, we're talking, but I guarantee you by the end of the day today, we're going to at least have 3 or 4 black males in jail. And everybody talk about, it's not about, oh, y'all caught them smoking weed. No, we're catching them doing felonies.
Wow.
When are we going to stop that?
Why is it us?
Like I said, I don't know. And we keep coming up with excuses. So let's put all these excuses on the board and let's figure out how to get rid of these excuses.
Yeah.
If you're saying, like you're saying earlier, you're talking to them about education. If the education excuse them, how do we put more mentors and more tutoring into our community? Mm-hmm. So whatever, if it's about money, then how do we find jobs for these kids?
Well, and my question is, you just made a statement of when, or a question of when is it going to stop? How will it stop? How will it stop? You and I were talking just before we got going, Chief, was that at some point when you got these teenagers who should be in bed at certain time of night, who should be getting ready for school the next day, when or is it possible to hold the parents responsible?
I say yes and no to that. And here's what I say. So there are a lot of single parents out there.
Right.
Moms and dads.
My mom was one of them.
Yep.
And when you hear sometimes, I can tell you story for story, but when you tell when a mom tells you, hey, Chief, I have 4 kids. 3 are doing great, 1's doing bad. I got to give you that one. Mm. And she's right. She's working 2 jobs. She's got to make a decision. So when are we then, like we said earlier, we're talking, when are we going to come together as a community and help her when we see that child doing bad? And like I said, and you hear police officers say this all the time, we can't arrest our way out of this. They're right. Because Tony going to come back home and then I just said the other day, you send me off to one of these camps or whatever, you're sending me off to college. I'm going to get my master's degree.
Yeah.
I'm going to learn more in these programs. Mm-hmm. So when are we going to start helping, just like you're doing today, like this program? We're getting the word out there. Yeah. Now that you're hearing it, now how are you going to act?
What you going to do about it? Right. What are some of the programs for the folks listening right now that they can take advantage of, whether they are a parent or maybe they're an aunt or a family member or a caregiver? What are some of the programs available in St. Pete that kind of gets their kids outside of school, gets them a little bit busy? So I'm going to give Mayor Welch credit and my team credit. I guess I can say no excuse here in St. Pete. And I'm talking about my staff that come up with program. The first program we came up with was called the Call Program after Mr. Floyd was killed. And we start looking at that as, why are we sending a police officer to all these calls? Why are we sending a badge and gun to these calls? And the call is Community Assistant Life Liaison. Just like you said, your mom, and I laugh sometimes because I still hear those calls. Send a police officer to my house because my child won't go to bed. Ma'am. There you go. See? Ma'am, please.
Or my daughter just slammed the door in the bedroom.
Great.
Be a parent. Handle your business.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So we saw that at the police department. We go like, why are we going to these calls? So then we got we call them navigators. Now we have civilians going there that can help these people through their crisis and their parenting skill. Yeah. So that was part 1. So then part 2, the mayor stepped up the game. We said, okay, what if a child gets arrested for a misdemeanor? So what are we doing about that? And we've hired somebody by the name of Lisa Willa Bowman. Is that now we're interjecting that? We're saying, and like I say, we're for time, we got a program that if your child has a problem, we can handle in St. Pete. Your son wants to play football, no problem. You can't afford it. We have an organization called CYF. They will pay for it.
Wow.
Your daughter wants to go to dance school, they will pay for it. But the parent involvement. Yesterday I met with the school board because we were talking about how do we take fun programs to get kids education. Mm-hmm. And I was in shock. every school in Pinellas County has an after-hour tutoring mentoring program.
But how many people are in it?
But hey, football practice. Everybody gonna be at football practice.
Basketball practice.
Basketball practice.
Basketball practice.
How many people taking advantage of that? So that's what we try to do. And then you were talking about last week, and I always say when I get a chance, I like to thank our drug dealers in our community.
You like to thank them? Did I hear you?
I like to thank them because when they sell drugs and we collect their money, we take their money, we give it back to the community. So I said I want to thank y'all because y'all pay for the Boys and Girls Club, y'all pay for PAL, y'all pay for the kids. So you want to destroy our community? Let me take your money and put it back into the community.
That's right.
So sometimes I just want to remind them, say thank you for out there making that living for me.
Thank you for your services.
Yes.
And your kindly
donation. Because we want to give that back to the community and seriously help those other kids. Because like I said, those only 1% or so. If we can put in these programs, we want to do that.
Yeah. The stolen gun aspect blows my mind. We talked about that, and the stats were actually for folks who are watching going to show the stats. I'm going to read them off if you're listening. So from January to July of 2024, there were 133 guns stolen in St. Pete. 103 from a car, 28 were from a building, 2 were from a person, which is very bold, and 50 were recovered. Is this an improvement? Are we seeing fewer guns being stolen, or are we seing more?
That is fewer. We're seeing a downtick. And you say that 133. This time last year, I think we were over like 200.
My God.
And we were talking about it earlier. How do you solve that problem? For the people that are out there, I agree with Second Amendment. You have a right to carry a gun. Be a responsible gun owner.
Right.
When you get out of your car, take your gun with you into the house.
Simple.
Don't leave your gun in your car. Don't leave your keys in your car or your key fob. When you seeing that thing as a scroll in there, 103 out of the cars. Now, we're not talking these cars are broken into.
Right.
So, and of those 103, I know we didn't do a breakdown. I can guarantee you there are handguns, there are shotguns, AR-15s.
Wow. In your car.
Because we don't have time.
Wow.
You had time to buy the gun, to make time to be a responsible gun owner.
You're right. You are right. And simple as locking the door. The example you gave me earlier, like you were too tired to lock your door
and leave the ammunition in the car. So we always talk about
you're asking for it at that point, right?
Yeah. When these kids are telling us they're taking guns, they're not just taking the gun. They're taking most of the time is a handgun with 2 magazines.
Wow.
A handgun with magazines and ammo in the car because they just came back from the range. And they just decided that they'll come back. They'll come back and get it out later on.
So, Chief, my question is, it's a hats off to you and your team and all the officers who put on that uniform. Where are you at far as do you feel like you guys are being outnumbered? Do you have the right amount out on the streets? Could you use more? And like you said, with the stat that we just saw, those numbers are down. So kudos to you guys that you guys are obviously doing something right. Is this a trend that's going to continue to go down? And are those numbers due to the fact of you have the amount of officers on the streets that you like, or would you like more? Or could you use more?
Well, every police chief and every sheriff can tell you they could use more. Yeah. But what I can tell you is that if you have this community support, we're good where we are. Because again, I'm going to tell you, we're dealing with that 1%er.
Yeah. We're
not dealing with the other. If everybody in St. Pete was bad or everybody in St. Pete was committing a crime, boy, I need a lot of people.
Yeah.
But because they're the men and women we're only dealing with a small percentage. So if everybody was continue to work together, we could move that 1% someplace else, out of the state of Florida or wherever, out of our country. But we need more community support. Do I need more officers for certain things? Yes, I do. Because those 1%ers are getting pretty bold. So it's our job to protect the other 99 or 98% of the population. So, and we got to learn from each other. But at the same time, the officers got to know who those 98% people are, and they got to know who the 2%ers are. Because I don't want you treating that 98er like you're treating that 2%er.
Right. That's it right there. That's it right there. And the relationships, we talked about this even in one of our Black History Month specials, building and building that relationship between particularly minority communities, the Black community, and law enforcement. How do we continue to do that so that there is trust?
Programs like this and just getting out and meeting people. Terrence, you asked me a question earlier, and every time I think about it, you say I'm always in uniform. And I'm always in uniform because I want people to recognize who I am, and I want my officers. But when I'm out of uniform, I see the other side of life too, because I see the way people look at me. Because sometimes they'll like, maybe step a different way, maybe not get that smile, because they're looking at me as that 2%er. Because of what they've seen on television and what they've heard. We got to get to know each other, and that's what we try to teach the officers. Just because you see a young African-American male or anyone that doesn't look like you or doesn't act like you, get to know that person. Right. Because you know what? They're just like you.
Right.
Yeah, that's the culture that you've built, with the St. Pete Police Department as a whole. Is there a way or how do you encourage your officers to even do that and get motivated to do that out on the street?
So we're very fortunate. As our officers go through training, we have Mr. Leon Jackson, who was one of our Courageous 12. If you don't know the story about that, that was 12 African-American men. The reason why I'm sitting here today and probably where you are today is they were only allowed to patrol in the Black community. They could not arrest a white person. They couldn't even stop a white person. So they filed a lawsuit, and they won, and then they could patrol anywhere they wanted in the city. So what we do is every officer, when they get hired at the police department, they sit down and they talk to Mr. Jackson. Because we want them to know that. The Carter G. Woodson African American Museum, they go to the Carter G. Woodson African American Museum and they sit there for 4 hours and they talk to the people in the community. Wow. Because, like I said, I'll use myself, I wasn't raised in the projects, what we're going to call it. So don't assume because I'm Black, I understand what goes on in there.
Correct.
I need to go there and learn. And we need to learn from each other. And I think that's what people forget, that, well, I'm here and they're there. No, you're in the same place. Because if you go someplace else, they have no idea who you are or what you are. Yeah. So let's learn about each other.
Wow.
That's real. So, Chief, you guys launched a program this past June in St. Pete called the Youth Care Program. Talk about the success of that this summer, and is it something that's going to continue, and where are we with that right now?
So again, I'll give credit where credit's due. Mayor Welch and the team, Megan McGee and Assistant Chief Dave Gerardo, they were the one that came up with this plan, and they're making it bigger. So it's working. We know the court system and nothing. Everybody again put blame on the court system, so we put it up on the wall. The court system, is going to be 2 or 3 months before that child sees someone or hears someone. Our program is, if you do something today, within 72 hours, someone's going to be at your home talking to the child and talking to the parent. Wow. And when you come there, we say, with groceries. What do you need? You need education. You need food in the house. You need money for programs. We're not going to give you a handout. We're going to give you a hand up. We're going to get you started. And we're going to continue that. So that's what we can continue to do. Thanks to the mayor again, we got another program. We just got another $1 million given to us. That we're going to make this program make this program better. Now, before I forget, because I always do that, Tom, I want to thank the NFL, because the Buccaneers, they helped us stepped up. They gave $450,000 to this program.
Okay.
Wow.
So, like I said, no excuses. If you really need the help and you want the help, it's there.
But you got to seek it. And you got to know about it and be involved. We were talking earlier, and being involved in your community can take you so much further than not being involved. And even the use of social media. Right. If if you downloaded a news app or if you followed the city of St. Pete on Facebook, like, let's utilize all of this technology that we have instead of for bad and use it for good so that we can actually benefit and grow. Why is that so hard?
And like I say, and that's what I'm talking about. How you like I said, the show, you're keeping it real. So that, like I said, you'll spread gossip, but you won't spread the good gossip.
Ah, the good word. Yep.
You won't tell somebody about, hey, they got some stuff over here for you, but I'll talk about this person over here. Hey, did you know the city had this program? Did you know the city had this program for your daughter, for your son? If we were to do that, we could change a lot. Yeah. And you said earlier, I can't reduce crime. I'm not getting, and I always tell to every young chief I talk to, any chief that says they can reduce crime, they're lying to you. We can reduce the fear of crime, because our people are not committing crimes. But how do we reduce that? How do we go back to, again, the old school where kids can play outside and not worry about there's going to be a gunshot or the mom's like, where's my daughter? Yeah. How do we get back to that? Not the perfect world, but how do we get close to that world?
Are there programs? What can we do?
You said something earlier, and we keep talking about the kids. Yeah. And somebody says, when are you going to start talking about the parents? Because when are we going to give these parents parenting skills? Anybody can become a parent. Hate to say that. Yeah. But when are you going to take on that responsibility? I always give the men and women credit that I work with. I don't have any children. Well, I have children. I had 800 of them. but I saw what my parents gone through, and it's a full-time job.
It is.
You get off from work. You know, you said
parents
earlier,
as a dad.
It is. Yeah.
I get off from work. I can go watch TV, relax. You get off from work. Your job just started.
Rip and running. Exactly. I work hard. I think I used to always tell people all the time. Let me punch my picture up here. So I used to tell people all the time, like, I'm about the only person inside the workforce that look forward to Monday morning, because I'm ripping and running around so much on the weekends to where I come to work to relax.
Well,
wow.
And I hear somebody else.
But I'm proud of that, though. I'm proud to be there for my kids and to have hopefully a positive influence in their lives, and there to teach them right from wrong.
And so that's where it starts. Like I said, on the weekend, you're ripping around. I got this practice. I got to go do this.
You watching college football.
I'm enjoying life. Hey, and I can take a nap in the middle of the day. He can't take a nap in the middle of the day.
So am I going to have kids now? I'm like, my goodness, I'm rethinking life. but you're right.
But you got to know it's coming. You got to say, hey, you know what? It's coming. And like I said, again, thank you for bringing me here. It's just like and I blame my generation. I blame us because we're part of it. Yes. It used to be, I'm always going to make my child do better than I am. Now is, you're on your own.
You're right.
When do we stop that? You know, pick my child up, put him or her on my shoulders, and show them the light. Yeah, you need to baby him a little bit, and then, you need to spank him a little bit. But that child's got to do better than I've done. You know, if my mom got a high school education, then it was respected for me to get a high school education and probably go to college or get a better job. Yeah. Now it's like, okay, whatever. Yeah. Can't be a whatever anymore.
Also the environment, right? And so like you said, we're looking at this 1 or this 2%, right? And I feel like the environment will have an impact. I brought up gangs and you said, oh, I don't call them gangs. I call them groups. Elaborate on that for people in the community who feel like there's a gang issue here.
So it's more like television. Now, there are some gangs here in the Tampa Bay area. You know, the Bloods, the Crips, you can name all of them, but I'll just use the one they use on television, Bloods and the Crips. But that's for life. If you belong to that group, you belong to that group for life. Here, I live in neighborhood B, so I belong to neighborhood B. As soon as I move to A, then I belong to neighborhood A group. That's not a gang.
That's not.
If you want to call it that, that's good. It sounds good. It sounds good on paper and everything else, but you're not a gang. Or my cousin belongs to that group, so I can't do anything while he or she's over there. So it gets to the point where quit watching television. Quit trying to be something that you're not. And if you want to turn these gangs or group into something else, turn them into something good.
Are we able, or how are you all dismantling those groups that at least do exist?
By working with the community. And when you say that, it's kind of funny. Then you start doing when those things start. And I always, like I say, I go back to when I was growing up, but then I learned from the new people, because then you say, like, where did these names come from? Well, if you go back to, you say you're born in Tallahassee, they started back in the old days when you had to pick your basketball team. Well, neighborhood A's playing neighborhood B in football and basketball. That's what it was. It wasn't a gang. That's who you played against, that side of the city.
Yeah.
And then it broke into that side of the city starts to fight each other. Well, why don't you go back to what it was meant to be? Just, you belong in the neighborhood A, and we're going to have a football or basketball or whatever game against you. So it's, rooted. When are we going to get back? When are we going to get back to
well, I'm gonna
no. Get back to the roots. I mean,
right.
Like somebody said, look at that tree. How come, make that tree strong again? Quit, Some of those branches you got to cut off. They're dead.
But Chief, we know that tree is no longer there because of the building of neighborhoods,
the gentrification,
and revitalizing these neighborhoods. But then I think too, my biggest issue was that when we were coming up, there were basketball courts in neighborhoods. There were boys and girls clubs. There was recreational centers. There's not that anymore. Where are those? So what are these kids to do when they're during the summer, when there's nothing else, when school's not in? There's nothing else to do. You could play video games all day. Well, mom and dad get in there and get on the kids saying, hey, get out of here, get out this house. You've been sitting here on this video game so long. So what do? They go outside and stumble across some kind of trouble. So I think, to me, the issue lies as to there's not too many outlets for these kids today.
And that part I'm going to disagree with you on.
Okay.
But here's the problem, and you're right. They're out there, but there's a cost to it that people shouldn't have to pay. If your kids want to go play basketball, why are we charging?
Bam, and that's it too. Yep.
You're paying your taxes.
Yep.
Shouldn't your taxes go toward that basketball court?
Exactly.
So
or the park or the baseball fields. Yep.
You're a single mom, and just like you got 3 kids, I don't know how many kids you have, but just think about it. You got 4 kids. I've seen some of these entry fees to pay for stuff. I'm like, man, that's a mortgage payment.
I don't have 4, Chief. I only have 2.
but okay, so let's just use you. Okay, so
yes, sir.
That entry fee, the equipment,
right?
Most
importantly, the time.
That's it. But then, like I said, going to the stores, the price of sneakers, crazy day in the morning. Yeah. Somebody need to do a discount or something. I don't know what it is. Here I am. I'm a single person. I look at the shoes like, man, I can't afford this.
It's crazy.
It is.
It is. It is bad. I do agree with you, Chief, though. I feel like there are opportunities, but those opportunities come at a cost. And that's what creates the disparities. So like in my segment for the culture that I do on air, or even here in the Rooted in Progress show, like we talk about those disparities because that disparity is what will separate that one kid. It'll separate somebody who might be in a middle upper class than the lower class, right? Then you have, when we're seeing these issues, especially in minority communities, it's the difference between that parent having the time and not being on their 3rd job to, monitor their kid who's now out in the street and now out with these groups and doing all these bad things. The difference is the disparity. It's that small. It's that small.
And I agree with you, because like I said, that I'm going to pick up mom, because that mom, she's working 2 jobs, probably because she's got to pay for cleats, helmets, insurance.
Yep.
You know what?
School fees.
If you take that away from her, maybe he or she would have some time for their kids. And like I said,
you are right.
I'm not the politician. I don't know, because borrow from Peter to pay Paul, but we got to find a way to take that entry fee and reduce it, because if you want kids to do something, give it to them for free. Let them put a little skin in the game, but don't be charging them $200 and $300 because they can't afford that. The sneakers cost $200.
They really do, especially a pair of Jordans. That's about $280. $280.
See, I can't afford Jordan.
$280 for a pair of Jordans. Chief, you have been in your position for 10 years now. So what's next for you?
You know what? I tell everybody keeps asking me, like, when are you going to retire? So of that 39 years, I've been a police chief for 17 years. So hopefully my boss doesn't hear this, but When this becomes a job, then I'm done.
Yeah.
But right now, it's a career. It's an opportunity for me to continue to give back to the community. And as long as God has me in that position, I'll stay there. I got, you know what? I'm very blessed. I got good people. I got my staff, man, they're on it.
Oh. Yolanda is incredible. Shout out to Yolanda.
Now there you go again. See, now she's going to want to raise.
Give it. Come back, though. Come back here. You do have an incredible staff, and you can just tell from someone who loves their job and loves what they do, because you do it beyond what I think is your job. You're so involved in the community, and I think that shows your love for what you do and the love for the people who, that you technically work for. You serve your community.
But without a staff that I didn't have, I wouldn't be able to do those extra things. Wow. Because you know what? I know they're going to handle the day-to-day stuff, so I'm not worried about that.
Okay.
We make a joke about it. We say we look at our problems in the community too, the same thing as a wave. There's plenty of waves out there. So when that wave hits on shore, you better be prepared for that one, because once that one's gone, there's two more coming behind it.
Yeah.
So, and our wave is what we're talking about. Our wave is back to these juveniles. How do we get rid of that wave and start working on some other ones? Like I said, I can't thank you enough, because like I said, people don't want to talk about these gun violence. People don't want to talk about these guns. You know, they'll tell you how bad it is in the community. Well, it's bad in the community because of these 100 and I can't remember the number.
33.
133 non-responsible gun owners. Those 133, you're responsible for the shootings. You're responsible, for the killings. You're responsible for the robberies, because these kids, and like you say, these kids, 10 and 12-year-olds, they can't go to the pawn shop and buy a gun.
Yeah, no, you can't do that.
So you are giving it to the children. You might as well just go out in the corner and open up your car door and say, you want a gun, you want a gun, you want a gun. When are you got a right to your Second Amendment, 100%. You got a right to carry a gun, but when are you going to be a responsible person with that gun?
There it is. We're going to leave y'all with that. That's a message. That's a word. That is a word. Absolutely. I think, and here at Rooted in Progress, of course, we're going to have you back. We will have you back. But we want to talk about how we get better. Are we seeing these numbers go down? Are we seeing more parents get involved? Are we seeing fewer children in juvenile detention centers, or unfortunately in jail? Because that is something that we want to do better, just as a community, as a whole.
And need to do better.
Yeah.
So you're right. So on a positive note, like I just reported to the city council, I was in shock, because people are listening to us. This last quarter, we had 101 guns turned into us.
Wow.
So
turned in.
Yeah, turned in. People that said, you know what, I don't need this gun. Y'all can have it.
That's incredible.
So on a positive note, so they're starting to listen.
Yeah.
On the other note, again, thanks to everything that's going to the city, the people are starting to get the message out that there's other things for their kids to do.
Good.
That the parents need to be involved in this. Our community leaders, they're doing a great job, but they only can do so much.
Right.
But so again, not giving thanks to this show, because some people gonna hear it.
Yeah.
So even if 5 people hear this today, then that's 5 more people that we can take off the list.
Yeah.
So,
Chief, my question is, for someone who's out there listening who is in need of some type of care, help, how can they go about reaching out to you or other programs through St. Pete to get that information?
and thank you, Terrence, for that very much. You can call our police department, our non-emergency number. We'll connect you to our call program. Those are navigators that are out there that, you know, you're getting ready to go through that crisis, or you're going through that crisis. We'll help you. Like I said, we're not going to give you a bunch of handouts, but we're going to give you a handout. We're going to bring that groceries out. We're going to bring the groceries to your house. I'm not going to cook it for you. I'm going to bring it to your house so you can get, at least you can get a starter.
Right.
And then it's up to you what you want to do from there. So call us. I only can speak for St. Pete. Call us because the resources are there. If use the rooted as here's your gossip line.
Yeah.
You know, I heard this today, and you know, let's do this, let's do that. You know, I told you a lot of negative stuff that's going on out there, but take that positive and say, hey, there is some help out there.
Yeah.
I just got to want to do it.
Yeah. And I think the biggest message is that, and I always tell folks this, it's like, be a part of the solution. We see all the crime, we see all the murders on the news every night. And we automatically will label that city, that town, that police chief, that police force, this location, whatever, as something negative. But I think if we have the mindset and we shift our mindset to be a part of the solution and not the problem, together we can come and make changes.
See, I'm gonna use that. So I'm gonna steal that from you.
Be a part of the solution and not add to the problem.
Absolutely, that is key. Well, Chief Holloway, I appreciate you hanging with us.
Well, your 10th episode, my 10 years. You know,
this is great.
I'm gonna go out and celebrate something today.
Absolutely.
We're gonna go to your favorite restaurant because you're in Tampa. You're in Tampa right now.
I know.
What's up?
You know what?
It's lunchtime.
Look, he like
it's lunchtime, but I got to be back at office at 12:30. So.
Oh, boo! Chief Holloway just turned us down.
No, I didn't. No. I turned you down for today. No,
today.
Don't get it confused. I like to eat.
We got you.
Just make sure you don't go through no drive-through, Chief.
Oh no,
Take your time, get you something.
I can't do that.
Something good, something healthy. You know.
Well, Chief Holloway, we appreciate you.
Absolutely.
And more than anything, we appreciate what you do for this community. You are such a leader. You are an incredible person. You're a mentor. You are someone to look up to. You make me proud, especially just as a Black woman. So thank you for being you and for what you do.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. Absolutely. Thank you both.
Of course.
Absolutely. Thank you, Chief.
And thank y'all for hanging with us today on this Thursday. Hopefully, like you said, and I'm going to start using that, Terrence. The Chief said, use Rooted in Progress as your gossip line.
Absolutely.
I love that. Yes. Use today as your gossip line. Go out and share the good that we put out. And utilize the resources. The city of St. Pete, they're doing some really incredible things. If you need those resources, the Chief put that out there. This entire episode will be online at WFLA.com. You can always also stream on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and on YouTube to go back and listen to find out what you need to do and spread the gossip. You can share it with all of your friends.
You can like it.
And do all the things. Terrence, before we go,
yes.
I got to shout out the Chief. He gave me this pen. Can y'all see it?
Oh, snap.
Yeah, he gave me a pen.
He just brought one?
It's the badge. It's the badge for St. Pete. And then on the back of it, it's St. Michael for protection.
Okay.
So address me as Officer King moving forward. Period.
Man, she does not need any more authority around this place.
Hey, thanks for hanging with us, everybody.
So much,
Rooted in Progress. We are back every week at 11.
Yes. Take care, guys.
Have a good one.